everyone. I know that many of you were asking me about the paper that I made out of dryer sheets, and I promised a video, so I thought I would quickly make one today. It's the first video I'm making talking, so you'll have to forgive me if I sound a little stilted or anything like that. So first you start with a freezer paper, or wax paper would probably work, something with the shiny side up so that this can peel off of it easily. You lay your dryer sheet down and on the paper. It doesn't have to be ironed, it doesn't have to be smooth, and then you have ready some tissue paper in whatever colors you want. I had collected some old stamps and some white tissue paper, and then I had stamped some tissue paper as well, so that I might try that today. And I'm using a different kind of glue today. I'm using PVA, and my understanding is that what will happen is it will dry softer so that the paper itself won't be so stiff. I was having some trouble with that, so I thought maybe I would try that. So the first thing you do is just take your glue and put it on your dryer sheet. And a little bit goes a long way, but you really do saturate it so that it is totally glued up. And you know, I am not a perfectionist, so I don't worry too much about wrinkles and things like that. It just isn't that important to me. But for those of you that might be, and it is, then you'll handle that in a different way. So I'm going to just take a minute here and glue this up, and then we'll get started. Yep, got a little something in there that we don't need. Not sure what that was. I don't know how many of you that happens to, but it happens to me frequently where I have something on the glue plate or something on my fingers or whatever. But that's the wonderful thing about mixed media. It doesn't even really matter. All right, so this is pretty glued up now, and we're going to put more glue on it anyway, so I think it's fine. And I'm actually going to pour out a little bit more glue on the side here because my plate's almost finished. So as I do that, what I like to think about is what I'm going to use this for. And so I think about it as a journal cover, for example, and which means that I have a front side and a back side. And so I want to look at this and think about what I want my focal point to be. And what I have found is it's easier to lay down other things before you put your focal point down, because if you put your focal point down first, and you're laying tissue down, then it covers up your focal point. So I'm just gonna have fun here and play, and just put this down, and then you just glue over each piece as you're going. Now this will dry clear. It isn't. PVA is archivable, so you can, it will dry clear. So just gonna pick pieces and lay them down. No particular order, just random. The one thing that I do want to make sure is that I am covering the entire dryer sheet, even the tiny little crevices like right there, because if you don't, what's going to happen is that will show through. So you want to make sure that your dryer sheet is completely covered. Now I used Elmer's glue before, as I mentioned, and I have to say this is my first time working with PVA. It's a little bit stickier, so not quite as easy to work with. And I'm thinking maybe I should have watered it down a little bit, but I didn't, so we're going to give this a shot and see what happens. And I just think about composition a little bit too, so where do I want those yellows and pinks to be, and spreading them out a little bit on the page so that they're not all bunched up necessarily. And as you can see, what happens is when you lay something over something else, then you get it, it's slightly muted, like right there, slightly muted. I also have, I'm a big one for wanting variety in my collages and my papers, and so I stamped some letters and numbers, which I typically use in my collages because I think it just adds a little interest. So I'm going to add those in a random way. See, that got a little wrinkly there. Oh, it's the thing you have to be careful of. And again, this paper is pretty sticky. Some other shapes. Now, you can also buy, and I do have some, like Tim Holtz makes some tissue paper that's decorative that would, you know, is really, really beautiful. But if you have stamps and you have tissue paper, then why not use what you have rather than go out and buy something new? That's my motto. There we go. We'll put a orange stamp over here. Again, I like to use all different kinds of shapes just to give it a little bit more variety. And now I got numbers in here somewhere. I'm going to rip those. Use that maybe over here. Maybe should have made that go the other way, but that's okay. I don't know about you, but I don't know if you talk to yourself, you know, while you're doing this or not, but I sometimes do, and it's like, oh boy, I should have moved that to a different spot, but can always put something over it. That's the wonderful thing about mixed media, is that, you know, nothing is ever permanent unless you want it permanent. Doesn't have to be. So as you can see, this is just a process really of layering, just continuing to layer and layer and layer and layer. I think we need something in the middle there. Now you can see when I do that, it mutes out the numbers a little bit, but that's okay. Again, I kind of like that. We need a little bit more pink over here. And as you can see, those stamps, can barely see them right now, but my understanding is that this is gonna dry clear. I wanted a little bit more orange there, so I may go back over that later. Some decorative paper. It's kind of bleeding a little bit, so I haven't used that before. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is put on my two focal images. I think the one on the front is going to be a stamp by Elizabeth St. Hilaire, and I'm going to put it right here. You'll be able to see those little circle things underneath, which is kind of cool. I kind of like that. And then on the back, I think I'm going to do her other stamp, which is a leaf, which kind of goes with this stamp set. She's amazing as an artist, collage artist. She does jelly printing, you know, all kinds of stuff. So I think I'm going to use that on the back right here. Now you can see what I mean when I say that if you want your focal pieces, they should probably go on top of other things, because otherwise they're going to be completely hidden. Tear as you go, but it does really help to have things torn ahead of time, so that when you're working, you're not just like running around trying to figure it out. Now what you see me doing here is just filling in some of my spaces with white tissue paper. I feel like this space up here needs something. Maybe we'll put a stamp there. Not sure I love that, but I'm going to put a little pink here too. Give it a little bit of... I think we got a space down here. Yeah, definitely a lot stickier, this glue. I'm going to have more wrinkles than I've had in my other pieces. So, and again, next time I might water down my PVA a little. But for now, I'm just going to do it. My word for 2019 is explore. So that's what I'm doing, just exploring. All right, we're almost finished. You can see this takes no time at all. And it's going to be so much prettier when it dries, I can guarantee it. Am I missing any other spaces? I feel like I need some more of these guys. Put that up here. Everything in threes, right? So probably, maybe I should have. And so we have another one here. Oh boy, yeah, glue on the fingers. Let's see, where do we want this one? Compositionally, we'll put it down here, I think. We really should have another little bit of numbers. Just so you can see that, you know, you could go on and on and on and on and on and not know when to stop, which sometimes can be my problem, but I think we'll do, we'll do a small piece right here. And we have ABCs. Maybe we'll do another small piece here. All right, I'm looking here. I think I have most everything covered as far as I can tell. A little bit right there. That looks covered. I think that's a little piece here. Now we've kind of lost that pink over here. So I'm feeling like we might need another little piece of pink there. Just to round it out. Step back from it, take one final look. And you can go off the edges too, because you're going to trim it anyway. Now that I put all that pink on, I feel like we need a little bit more orange. See, that's what I mean. You can keep going and never stop. And a little orange there. Yeah, all right. I think we're going to call that done. We're going to call that done.